Hello game fans and welcome back to the Steam Chamber. Today we're going to take a look at Jack Keane 2, The Fire Within, which is an adventure game to be released on June 28th on Steam. Now I'm going to try and keep the video footage as spoiler free as possible, which is going to be hard because it's, adventure games, there's always going to be something to spoil in any footage. If I stick to showing you in-game videos, then I'm giving away big plot points. However, if I show you gameplay, then I'm giving away puzzles. So I will try and keep it to a minimum and just show you stuff from very early on in the game so that it's not too much of a spoiler. Now, as I said, this one's out on June 28th, and it's the follow-up to the critically acclaimed and relatively successful Jack Keane game. This is developed by Deck 13, and it's published by Nordic Games. Now, Nordic Games may sound familiar to you as they made the press recently when they brought up a couple of the IPs from the breakup of THQ, including Darksiders. Now, this is a German adventure game, and as such, that does present some issues, which we'll get onto in a moment. However, I just wanted to mention that as there are a lot of adventure games coming out at the minute that actually are German games and are being translated from German, as the adventure game scene is absolutely massive in Germany. However, because the German game industry is quite insular, therefore their games often have quirks that don't always translate that well. However, I'm pleased to say that the game translates fairly well and has some interesting ideas. Now, first off, the thing that stands out with the game is the control system. Quite interestingly, you've got either the traditional point and click, or you can even use the WASD keys to move around, which is quite a nice change actually, rather than just clicking on objects and moving around. It does feel like you've got a little bit more control over your character. There are also times when you are required to perform various actions that you would get in more of an action-oriented game, which is also quite nice. It does help breathe a little extra life into the game. Fairly early on, pretty much in the first level, the prologue level, when you are playing Jack's sidekick, you have a gun, you have a rifle, and you are pinned down and you have to stay within cover. So there is a sort of cover system. You then have to use the gun to interact with various objects rather than traditionally of going up to them and pressing them in order to solve the puzzles and get away from the enemies, which is a really nice, interesting take on the point and click ideas. Pretty much straight away after this, you are thrown into a more traditional point and click area, which is a prison cell, and you must find your way out. Now, Jack Keane is your sort of typical adventure hero, pretty much an Indiana Jones type character, and you are looking to find a secret treasure, as always, after you are given some information and a small object from a shaman in a prison cell in Shanghai. Now, the game is set in the 1800s, and as such plays on a lot of characterizations in terms of racial characterizations, as well as sort of various technologies, and you will see things like zeppelins and tall ships and such, as well as very early cars. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it is a German game originally. As a result, the voice acting has obviously been redone to be sold in the English-speaking market, and as a result, it has suffered somewhat. The voice acting is not the greatest. The dialogue itself can be fairly stilted and fairly basic at times, and the voice acting can be worse. However, it doesn't break your immersion in the game. It doesn't really hold the game back too much. It would be nicer if it was the
Where is this?
the wit was a little bit better. It doesn't seem to have translated all that well, and it would be nice if the voiceover stuff was just a little bit more professional. However, despite that, it's still a fairly solid little point-and-click adventure game, and it's definitely one of those games that will give you plenty of time to enjoy and plenty of time to explore. It's not a particularly easy adventure game. I'd say it's moderately difficult.
Is that possible?
People who are big fans of the genre aren't going to have a huge challenge, but it should be fairly approachable for all. The one thing I did actually quite like about the game was the music. There's a real sort of weird mix of music, but actually it was quite refreshing. It's not the same old music you tend to get in these games, and as a result can be quite uplifting at times. And it's nice to see that they've done that well. That's what makes me think the voiceover stuff hasn't translated very well from the original German. The game itself is out on the 28th of June, so this coming Friday. I will probably put this up the day before that. There is a demo available. I'll link that to you below, and the game will be on Steam, of course. Thank you for tuning in, and do check out our other videos.